Hello and welcome to this series of videos where I provide a high-level overview of the Project Resource Manual book published by the Construction Specifications Institute, or CSI. In this video, we're going to go over Module 1, and this is the introduction. So there are 8 modules total in the book. One is introduction, then Module 2 is project conception, Module 3 is project delivery. Module 4 is design. Module 5, construction documents. Module 6, bidding, negotiating, purchasing. Module 7, construction. And Module 8, facility management. So before we begin, I would like to just mention that this book is meant to be one of the study materials for the preparation for the exam, the CSI exam. You can go to the official website and just check it out and see what other requirements are. So let's begin. The introduction begins with the project team, and it actually mentions that there are a few teams participating in the construction project. So one is the owner's team, and the participants are the owner or the owner's representative, or sometimes they're called owner's rep or OAR, owner's authorized representative. That's how they're usually called in the construction site, and owner's rep is the name for the representative on the architectural side. Then there could be a facility manager, there could be a facility maintenance engineer, construction management, construction manager actually, and tenants and facility users. Then the design team participants are architects and engineers. Sometimes it's in-house, both engineers and architects. Sometimes it's separate firms. Then interior designers, specifiers, construction contract administrator, and specialty consultants, which could be like audiovisual consultants, acoustical consultants, sustainability consultants, and others. Then if we talk about contractors team, the participants are the contractor itself or design builder, if that's a design build project delivery system. Then contractor's project manager, construction manager, superintendent, and subcontractors. In the large projects, there are many subcontractors and subcontractors. So that goes deeper and wider in the larger scope projects. Then there is another team, and that's the suppliers. And participants usually are the manufacturer's employees. Then it's the product representative and the distributor or supplier. So then if we look at other project participants, apart from the owner, construction company, architect, and the suppliers, there are other participants. For example, there are authority having jurisdictions or AHJs, and they are building code officials, zoning department officials, inspector, regulatory agencies, and they are all meant to protect the public's health, safety, and welfare by administering laws, codes, and other regulations. And they will depend on the state. So all the states adopt different variations of the International Building Code, and usually it is the local building code. Like, for example, in Florida, there is a Florida Building Code. Then there could also be a utility provider, and that is the public or regulated private entity providing sewer, water, fuel, electricity, or communication services. And there'll be a separate player in the project. Then as far as the construction management, there are different variations, and we'll look more into details in the later videos, but there could be a construction manager as constructor and as an advisor. So there are different types. We'll look further. Then there is also a surety, and that provides guarantee of contractual performance. And then insurance, that's another player in the contract. Then when we look at the team in general, usually it's a high level collaboration. It's not like a one person project. Usually there are a lot of people involved, and just because there are so many times where human factor actually can be very crucial and can destroy the project and can delay the project, there are a few um, regulatory jurisdictions, such as, for example, the American Institute of Architects, or AIA, then the Construction Specifications Institute, or CSI, then Engineers Joint Contract Documents Committee, or EJCDC, then Design Build Institute of America, DBIA, and Associated General Contractors of America, or AGC. It's good to be familiar with those organizations because, for example, the AIA, or the American Institute of Architects, they provide the majority of the contracts, all the documents, for example, between the owner and the contractor, between the owner and the architect, between the architect and for example, interior designer and others. So they regulate the relationship and the contractual obligations of one party to another. And they actually establish those rules. So if, God forbid, the project goes to litigation, there is a contract in place and people can always go back and see what they signed and what they discussed and what their legal department advised them to do. So then in the introduction, what you can see is the stages of the project, and we'll go over them more in depth in further videos because that is module 2 and on and after that. So, but here there's like a 30,000 foot view. So there is a project conception, and the activities associated with that is actually the feasibility study. If this project makes sense to pursue and to build, then programming. Usually it comes from the owner. So the owner says, okay, I have a piece of land and I would like to build a hotel there, or I would like to build a school there, or I would like to build whatever. So that's the owner's money, that's the owner's vision. But sometimes owner comes to the architect and asks them to advise them, to help them with the programming, like what facilities they would like to include there. Then site analysis, that is a crucial part of the project conception. You need to analyze the site and see whether it's buildable at all. Like sometimes it could be the conservation area, something can be protected, like a little bird can be protected. You cannot build anything there. And of course, site selection, but that's part of the programming. You basically make an educated decision where to purchase that piece of land and what the infrastructure is around. So the owner needs to provide the program, and the owner needs to establish the budget and the schedule. So when they would like this project to be done by, for example, if they want the school to be done by the beginning of the school year, that is a very hard timeline. So everybody needs to be aware of that. Otherwise, there'll be like liquidated damages, but we'll talk about that later. Then the architect and engineers, what they need to provide is they need to provide reports and brief analysis and recommendations. It's a very high level still. It's not like the project has not started yet. So it's just like making sure just that this project makes sense. Then we move to the design stage, and it has 3 parts. AIA mentions that there are 3 parts, and then those are schematic design, design development, and construction documents. DBIA says it's just 2 stages, which is schematic design, and then the design development and CDs or construction documents are included there. So, but we'll look at everything further. So schematic design, what the owner needs to provide, they need to provide the surveys. Those are the official documents that are obtained from the county or the city, depends on the jurisdiction. And then they need to have a geotechnical data. They need to order that. So they will have that and they need to provide that. And the architect starts to work on the drawings. So they provide the schematic drawings. There could be sketches, there could be some brief renderings, some diagrams. But it's still very conceptual, and plans, elevations, and sections are the main ones. It's still very it's not in detail. It's just briefly saying, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Then the description and cost projection as well. Then we'll move to the design development stage, and that is more in detail. And the architects provide drawings, architects provide more detailed plans with enlarged details, elevations with all the notes. Not everything is set in stone yet because it's still design development. Then sections and typical details. Then also the design criteria, equipment layout. They need to talk to the manufacturers. If it's like a hospital, you need to understand all the equipment dimensions so everything works well and you don't have to redesign. Then the outline specifications are due in this stage of the project, as well as the revised cost projection. And architects and engineers go back to revising the cost projection after every design stage. So, and after every stage, the owner needs to approve that, and then people move on to the next part of the project, next stage. So the next one is construction documents. And what activities are happening? It's actually construction documents or final design. So everything gets a lot of details, everything gets just developed and specifications are finished. So from the owner, what is required, they need to have the instruction for bidders or for procurement. Then they need to provide the bid or proposal form and the general conditions of the contract and supplementary conditions. So, and as far as the architects, the detailed drawings are provided at this stage, then plans, elevations, that includes plans, elevations, sections, details, and schedules like door and window schedules, for example. Then the specifications are finished. Then the bidding requirements are part of this stage as well, and the revised cost projection. Then after everything is done, the project goes out to bid, and it goes through the competitive bidding for the most government projects. That's the requirement. It goes out to bid. It's official. It's published on the website, and interested contractors can submit their bid. And also, there could happen direct purchasing of goods and supplies if the owner prefers to work with some vendor and they would like to purchase some things directly. Like, for example, if that's the medical equipment, they can procure that separately from the construction contract. Then the owner provides the RFP or request for proposal and the purchase orders as well. So everything is published, people can go publicly and participate. So architects provide addendas, if any. So for example, if bidders have any questions during the bidding process, which varies depending on the project and on the jurisdiction. And if if a bidder has any questions, instead of replying directly to the bidder, architects publishes the addenda where they kind of like consolidate all the questions and they say, hey, this is the addenda to like all the project requirements that were already published, and please make sure that you get familiar with that. And then what the contractors need to submit is the bid itself and the bid security, that they're willing to pursue this project. They have all the means and methods in place, and they are willing to work on that. Then the construction begins after the bidder is selected, whether it's a general contractor or a construction management firm. Then what happens is there are a few stages. So the if it's a construction management company, they usually have a few meetings with the subcontractors, which is they sign the agreement. Then it's like the pre-mobilization meeting. Then it's the prep meeting, and then they go through construction and contract administration, and then the project close out. What the owner needs to provide is the payment certificate. So every time the general contractor or the CM sends the pay app, they need to make sure that that is paid properly. Then if there are any modifications, that's what the architect or the engineers are going to take care of, and they're going to provide everybody with either ASI, the architect supplemental instructions, or if that goes, like if it affects scope, time, or budget, then it's going to be a change order. So those modifications are part of the construction process. Then what the constructor needs to provide is the permits, schedules, shop drawings, certificates, then the documents, warranties, operations and maintenance data. And then the facility management starts. The facility management is actually the occupancy, then the operations and maintenance evaluation, and then repairs, if any. So the owner provides the maintenance records, and then the architect provides the post-occupancy evaluation or analysis, and they just make sure that all the systems work well and everything is in its place. And the contractor provides the warranty service and records. So they basically, during the construction, if they had like the electricity on, then they hand over to the owner, then all the manuals for any type of equipment they use. So everything goes to the owner. And yes, so that is basically it. That's the introduction. That's like a brief overview of what you're gonna find in this book, and we're gonna go more in depth in the future videos. Thank you so much for watching.